Good afternoon, teacher and schoolmen. Welcome to our presentation. We are Group4. Hi, I'm Wu.
Hi, I'm Jimmy.
Hi, I'm Ethan.
I'm Calvin.
I'm Amy.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Vivi.
Our topic is the study on international students undergoing distance learning during COVID-19. And these are our contents. Now I would like to introduce our introduction. Since 2019, the coronavirus disease COVID-19 has caused health crisis that completely changed all life and perspective in the world. Every level suffered big troubles. Since after the outbreak and the spread of the COVID-19, government around the world closed all educational institutions to control the spread of the disease, which posed to an impact on students, educators, and institutions. Several countries are blocked. Many international students are restricted from studying in this country. Despite the pandemic, everyone has the right to an education. Therefore, as an alternative, schools turn to online distance learning. There are two main types of distance learning: synchronous learning and asynchronous learning. Both methods have several advantages and disadvantages. In synchronous learning, students can ask questions immediately during the teaching process. While in asynchronous learning, students can choose when, where, and how they want to study. On the downside, synchronous learning is easily affected by internet connectivity of classroom quality. Also, teachers cannot easily know what students do during the teaching process. Therefore, we conducted questionnaire and interview to learn from the experience of students how they cope with different emergency learning styles. This research aims to understand the perspective of international students and prepare them for study abroad.
International students or foreign students are students who choose to undertake all or part of their tertiary education in a country, other than they are unable to their country for a purpose. COVID-19 affects the world, including economy, transportation, and more. But for an international student, the education is most important problem. And there are advantages of distance learning. 1. Save time of the student without a part-time job. 2. Save shy student from speaking up in front of others. 3. Save money spent in commuting. And there are disadvantages of distance learning. 1. Students still need to face the real world. 2. No classmate held nearby. 3. Employees prefer a degree from a regular college.
And now, let's move on to methodology. This research targeted at the international students who undergo distance learning during COVID-19. 60 participants from several countries were asked to provide their perspective of distance learning and teaching style while studying overseas. Our research methods are online and offline interview and questionnaires. Different apps were adopted to survey questionnaires such as Instagram, Facebook, Line, WeChat. Then, the questionnaires were distributed to our schoolmates and teachers who were asked to provide their demographics and perspective by answering a 5-point language skill. We also asked them about the impact of the sudden change teaching style on part of their daily routine, studying situation, social communication, and academic performance. The collected data were analyzed by Excel and presented in pie chart. Finally, we will learn international students' perspective and mechanism during distance learning. The outcome of the survey questionnaires and interview are quite similar.
As for the result for our finding, all the respondents said that the online distance learning made them feel comfortable and convenient. Some of them think higher learning conditions during online distance learning, since they can record the lesson when listening to the lecture and review it later to improve their result. Well, as for the bad impact, most of the respondents become undisciplined and lazier because of the online distance learning. Some of the international students staying overseas who live with their roommate or get disturbed due to the different living style. Most of all, some of the students did not know how to use the software due to the sudden change of teaching method.
The perspective of the respondents indicates that they prefer face-to-face lesson to online distance learning because they felt depressed due to inability to enjoy college life before graduation. Some respondents also felt that it's unworthy to spend money on online distance learning because they cannot learn any practical things. About our survey, the online survey composed of 18 questions was distributed to our schoolmates and teachers to share with their life groups. in 10 days with a collecting 60 samples after deducting invalid responses. About our research questions, the first question is how the international students prevent themselves from distraction during online distance learning. Our survey results shows that international students have several ways to prevent themselves from distraction during online distance learning class. The first and the most crucial problem is social media. To deal with it, they created themselves a management timetable to limit the use of their phones.
And question number 2, what impact did distance learning bring to students' life? Based on the following reasons, distance learning reduced the learning effects of their study, not to mention technical problems. A few students think that modern technology is challenging for them during online distance learning, while some still think that carrying out online distance learning in their country was more convenient than staying abroad. Almost half of the respondents expressed that they couldn't adapt to distance learning, and a few of them think distance learning worsens their financial pressures, for example, utility bill and food delivery fee. And last, how could online distance learning be improved to enhance students' learning efficacy? As students complain that they lack face-to-face chances to improve their skills in person, it is vital to consolidate their knowledge of the practical courses by providing them with practical step-by-step video clips to review without time and space limitation. Instructors can also test their understanding by course design and ask them to present their learning results online. Not only can students learn from instructors, but they also learn from each other. Instructors can also group students to enhance their learning efficacy.
And last, I'm going to talk about our discussions. Our study results are divided into 4 sections. First, the pros and cons of the online distance learning. Second, feedbacks from the students. Third, solutions and observed phenomenon. And last, the given suggestions that students need to consider more carefully for their study plan during COVID-19 pandemic. Self-discipline is the best way to enhance the adaptation during the online distance learning. A couple of the participants who studied abroad in China's universities shared some complex situations during the interview. They are struggling at their examination results and their pending graduation. While it seems to be unsolvable, but the spreading of a virus may or will end before their graduation. In fact, the negative impacts are more than the positive ones through our study results. Most of the participants prefer to have face-to-face lesson to online distance learning, although the online distance learning is more suitable in COVID-19 pandemic. Lastly, the research might serve as a reference to students, even teachers. This is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your attention.